Hi everybody, and thank you for joining me today. So today I'm going to be working on the flower bud. As you can see, I've kind of outlined around it. And now it's time to start filling it in. So yeah, I'm going to be probably working sort of from the bottom of this curve upwards and inwards, at least for the first bit. I apologize, my tablet is being temperamental. I did restart it and I'm hoping it gets its act together. Yeah, sometimes it takes a while to kind of warm up, I guess. So yeah, I'm gonna have some darker purples here, and then it will get to lighter pinks because of the shading. So there is a bit more, I think, background and water on the other side of the flower, but all of the stuff that's on this side is like done now. So yeah, just plugging away. Oops. So yeah, I finished dealing with my apple harvest. We had a smaller one this year. Yeah, last year was the biggest batch I ever had. I had almost 97 liters of concentrated apple juice. So you add water to it before you drink it. And we water it down to almost half and half because it is super strong. So yeah, like that many liters of concentrate is almost double in actual juice. So yeah, we still had 8 jars left from last year, even though we gave quite a bit of it away. Yeah. Like when we had family members come out for my niece's wedding in May, I gave them each a box of like 4 jars of juice and 1 of jam each. Yeah, sort of every time I went over to one of my friends' houses, I brought over a box of juice, that kind of thing. So yeah, we gave a lot of it. I had my husband take stuff to work because, yeah, I mean, we just had it coming out of our ears, as my grandma would say. Yeah, so this year we got a third of what we had last year because, yeah, last year we got almost 20 gallons of concentrate, and this year I got 6.5. So yeah, pretty much almost exactly a third. Yeah, last year my husband helped me. He cored all the apples because the seeds in the cores are really hard on the juicing machine. So, because I always said that's the worst part. That's the part that makes me the sorest. Yeah, is the repetitive motion of pushing the core through the apple. Yeah. And I always said I want to skip that step, but yeah, it's really hard on the machine. And when you're doing the kind of volume we're doing, yeah, so but yeah, this year he didn't, but it only took me a day to do the actual juicing. So I said the whole process was 3 days. It was 1 day of doing all the juicing and straining, and then the second day was the cooking and canning it, and then the third day was the major cleanup. Like I did some of it the second day, but yeah, you have to scrub everything down twice because of the juice. It gets so sticky that yeah, it's just, it is impossible to get it down off on the first scrubbing. It's impossible to get it completely, like it won't be as like sticky, but if you try to run your hand over the surface, it feels almost like tacky or like it's gripping you because it's still, yeah, pardon me, still slightly sticky. So it just yeah, I find I can never get it clean with the first scrub, so it always takes 2. So yeah, that takes a lot of the day because I gotta scrub the floor too, from where it, you know, splashes and spills on the floor, on my hands and knees with a sponge and everything, because yeah, I learned the hard way using an actual mop. It just, you could mop it a dozen times and it's not going to come up completely non-sticky. There's just no substitute for actually scrubbing it. Yeah, so. And then same with the counters and stuff. And of course, juicing always makes a ton of dishes, so yeah. Yeah, we had a lot of really tiny apples this year. None of the apples really grew to their full, maybe 5% of them did, but like the full baseball size that they're supposed to be, yeah. I say that it was, I think, because our July was not hot at all. It was very cool and rainy, and I think, yeah, there just wasn't enough heat for a long enough growing season for them to really properly ripen. At least that's my theory. I was thinking maybe it was the smoke and ash in the air like blocked the sun, but then I remembered actually last summer for the wildfire smoke was worse. So yeah, I think it was the cool summer. And we also didn't have as big of a cold snap last winter, which I think it seems to be correlated. So when we have a really good, you know, like -50 for a couple of weeks cold snap, we seem to get a better harvest the next year. But I mean, I don't know whether that's actually like a causal link. It could just be, you know, it could just be something like it cycles in years, and some years it produces better than others. Who knows, right? So yeah, because I remember 2020, I got only like 7 liters of juice. Yeah, there was like almost nothing. And the year before it, I had managed to get about 60 liters of juice. So yeah, it's like I say to my husband, it's a good thing I don't rely on this for like making money, because it's very inconsistent. Yeah, like we don't do anything different with the tree. And you know, every year we give it a pruning. And other than that, though, it's a pretty hardy tree. It's bred for cold Canadian prairie winters, so yeah. You don't really have to do much, which is nice because, yeah, I'm lazy. Gardening is not one of my things. Yeah. I often say whatever a green thumb is, I have the opposite of that. Yeah. So I kind of joked with one of my friends. They're good at the growing stuff. I said, okay, and I'm good at the canning stuff. So, you know, if we end up in an apocalypse, you grow the food and I'll help preserve it, and we'll split it, you know? Because that part I'm good at, yeah. Yeah, because I always say the canning food, it's only worth it if it's food you grow yourself or you get for free. Like, yeah, I had my mom saying, oh, you know, you save so much money on the apple juice. And I'm going, for per liter of apple juice is like $1 at the store. So, you know, unless you think my time isn't worth any money, like, not really. It's just, I could never use enough of the apples up just making like apple crumble or with jam and stuff. So yeah, I started the juicing because I just hated wasting it. Could never give it away. The neighbors would only want to take a little bit, and food bank wouldn't take it because it's perishable. And yeah, there was one year we gave them to the zoo so they could feed them to the animals, but yeah, a lot of times they just ended up in the compost, and I don't like waste. So yeah, it's been pretty good because my husband bought that juicer. Oh, sheesh. I'm thinking it's got to be over a dozen years ago, something like that. And yeah, it's every year, I think maybe this is the year it will give out on us. And every year it just keeps on going. So yeah, a couple years ago, I bought a backup machine because the grocery store had a bunch on clearance at the end of summer. And so I went, well, why not? You know, it was less than half the price of what I paid for my current juicer. And I figured, yeah, why not have a backup? But yeah, I haven't had to open it yet. It's like 2-3 years now, and it's, yeah, the old juicer is just, we'll see if the new one holds up, because yeah, as with a lot of things, they don't make stuff like they used to. I always said my first vacuum cleaner lasted me a decade. And then after that, everyone seemed to die after a year and a half, 2 years. And I didn't change my vacuuming habits or anything. Yeah. You know, didn't suddenly acquire a bunch of new pets or like anything like that. So, yeah. Well, it's like they said, there's a big difference between the Corningware that, you know, your grandmother had versus the stuff they make today, because they discovered, yeah, if you make stuff that's basically indestructible, you can't keep selling it forever, right? So they said, yeah, there is a difference between it and the stuff they make in the last like 20 years is not as durable. Okay. Yeah, so there's a couple sort of small little gaps, but I'm still just going to sort of do this whole outline along this curve here. I'm not going to have any floating stitches, as I call them, so yeah. We'll see how far we get into this flower today. Yeah, my son was being a turkey though, because I probably mentioned before, he has this weird ladybug phobia. I have no idea where it came from. Like, he didn't have a traumatic experience with ladybugs or anything. And so my husband shook all the apples down, and I asked my son if he could pick them up and bring them inside so that I could keep on juicing. I said, honestly, I find that picking the apples up off the ground is my least favorite. I think because like I have to crouch down, and that's like a hard position for my legs to hold. Either that or I have to sit on the ground, but then I have to sort of keep getting up and moving around. And yeah, so I find it's like, yeah, it's uncomfortable for me. So I prefer if someone else does that part of it. And then, yeah, I was waiting like, dude, come on. What's taking so long? And it's because there were ladybugs and he didn't want to get near us. Like, you little turkey. So in the end, I was the one who picked him up, and I had him carry the baskets of apples in for me. And even then, I had to push them away so they were far enough away from the ladybugs so we get near them. I'm like, you little turkey. I'm like, I don't get it. Like, wasps I get. Bees I get. They can sting you, you know? I said, but ladybugs can't. They don't have teeth or stingers. They can't hurt you. And I mean, during the course of juicing, there was over a dozen of them that clung to the apples, so I had to let them go outside. I said, they just tickle when they walk on you, right? Yeah. Yeah, I said, I do not get it. Like, I have a phobia of spiders, but that's a common one. And I mean, someone said, like, that does make sense to be afraid of them because a lot of spiders are venomous, right? So it would make sense that humans have developed an aversion to them so that we don't get, you know, bitten by a venomous one that could kill us. But I'm like, ladybugs are not are not dangerous. I'm like, I even said, dude, like, ladybugs are our friends, you know, they eat the aphids and all the pests that can damage crops, right? They ladybugs and bees are our friends, right? Yeah. And I said, like, I understand being afraid of bees. They can sting, although generally they say if they don't feel threatened by you, they'll leave you alone. Yeah. Wasps are just jerks. They'll sting you just because they feel like it. Yeah. Like I said I had one at a campsite stung me. We weren't anywhere near its nest. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, bees are our friends. We need them. But wasps are just jerks. Oh, that one I missed the spot. Yep, that went over. Yeah, so we'll see. The colors are in bigger blocks in this section, so they should go a little bit quicker. Yeah, it's funny, the neighbor's dogs didn't like my husband climbing in the tree. Because, yeah, rather than trying to pick everything, since we're just making juice out of it, so it doesn't matter if they fall and get bruised, yeah, my husband will get in the tree and just shake it till they drop. And then we have a big, long pruner, but one side is just like a hook, so you can use it to hook on the branch and sort of pull them down. And, yeah. So sort of any stragglers, then he'll knock down from that. But, yeah, the dogs started barking when he climbed up there. I don't know, or if it was just because they could see him because of the, you know, he was above the fence line. I don't know, but yeah, it was kind of funny. And they barked at me a bit when I was picking the apples up, and then, yeah, that was it. So it was funny. Okay, just leave that there for now. Yeah, so I can see the colors start to travel this way. So I'm just going to come up to the top and I'm going to start just following this curve down here, and then I'll probably follow the next one until I filled in. It sort of goes, there's like a circle, and these kind of go in circles around it, radiating outwards. And so I'm just going to start sort of filling it in from there, and then it'll probably curve the other way as I get to the other side. So that is what I'm going to do. And because that means I have some bigger blocks, we should probably make some good progress today. Yeah, so if you notice my hands look a little rougher, that's from dealing with the apples. I do wear gloves when I'm juicing, but yeah, I mean, you're going to get some exposure to the to it, and they're very acidic, so yeah, they cause some irritation. I made the mistake the first time I juiced. I didn't know that it was that bad, and yeah, my hands really took a beating, and I actually had to go to the doctor for a prescription strength cream because they would not heal. So yeah, I mean, I guess if you're only juicing, you know, a couple of them for like your morning smoothie or something, it's fine. But yeah, if you're juicing 3,000 apples, yeah, that much exposure to the acid of the fruit will damage your skin. I learned that the hard way, so yeah. Yeah, I actually had to buy the gloves that they're called grease monkey gloves, and they're because they come way up on the wrist, because the regular shorter gloves, the problem was they would fill up with water from me washing the apples because they would only barely cover your hand. So yeah, I had to get, and I couldn't find those kind that were, so they're thicker, tougher gloves, which was nice too, because that also meant they lasted longer. I only went through 2 pairs for the whole batch of apples, so. Yeah, last year was wild. I couldn't even, I always like to take a picture when I'm done, you know, show off my hard work. And yeah, last year I could not fit all 90 something jars in one picture, no matter how close together I put them. Yeah, that was wild. Yeah, my husband built me a cupboard and it was completely full. Yeah, he built it because when we lived in the military housing, when we were first married, there was very little cupboard space because they were like pre-World War II houses, and yeah, there was no closets or cupboards hardly at all in there. So I needed pantry storage, so he built one for me. And we still have it, yeah. It's now in the spare room, but yeah, it's a great place to store the canned goods. Yeah, actually it was kind of nice though. The first house we bought, when we came out here, they actually had a special cold room for preserves. I'm not sure exactly how it worked, but it was in the basement and it had like this like pipe coming into it, and yeah, it naturally stayed quite cool in there. really liked it. I've never seen a house with that since. I never saw it before or since, yeah, but it was kind of nice. We had our laundry room and then just sort of this little cold storage room beside it. Yeah, I really liked the layout of that house. It was actually a little bit smaller square footage wise than the house we're living in now, but they did such a good layout of it that it actually seemed bigger. Yeah. The only thing that was different was it didn't have an ensuite bathroom. It had a side door into the main bathroom, a cheater door, I think my dad calls it. But so there was only one bathroom upstairs and one downstairs, and no private ensuite. But I mean, honestly, it wasn't bad. And I mean, that bathroom had so much storage too. It was wonderful. Yeah. It's not like now where this one had no linen closet. We have one now because when we replaced our furnace, we no longer needed the big chimney stovepipe anymore. It only needs a little tiny one that just sort of went out sideways through the basement wall and doesn't have to go all the way through the house anymore. So we turned where that pipe used to be, we turned that into a linen closet, but it's only enough to hold towels. I still have to store the sheets elsewhere. But yeah, in that first house we lived in, it had so much great storage that I had plenty of room for all the bedding and all the extra towels, and there was still space left over. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, when we moved, because my husband got a job in a different place that was a lot further away, and it wasn't worth it when you calculated how much we were spending on gas in his commute and wear and tear on the vehicle, plus all the time. He was spending, 90 minutes a day traveling to and from work. That adds up, and plus the closest grocery store was also that far away. So yeah, like I said, it does add up. Because we had a tiny little, we called it the Quickie Mart in town, but you pay 3 to 5 times more for everything. So yeah, instead I had to be organized and write myself a menu and a detailed list, so we only went grocery shopping every 3 weeks. Yeah, I got spoiled now. Now I can walk to my grocery store, it's like 5 minutes away, so yeah, I got spoiled and I don't plan ahead very well anymore. Yeah, I kind of said I wish we could have picked up that old house and brought it here, because I loved that house. But yeah. Yeah, I discovered I wasn't a small town kind of person either. It was a small place with a population of like 300, and so yeah, everybody knows everybody's business. Yeah. Yeah, my husband said that took some getting used to. His family moved to a smaller place when he was in high school, I think. And he said the first night they were there, they had a problem. Toilet backed up, and so they had to call the plumber off hours or whatever. And then they went to church, because it was like Saturday or something, yeah, late Saturday night. They went to church the next morning. They were a little late, and somebody said, oh, here's a new family. Yeah, they're a little late because their toilet backed up last night. And they're kind of like, how did you know that? It's like, yeah, small town living, everybody knows everything. The plumber must have mentioned, oh yeah, I was at the house of the people who just moved in, and yeah, because their toilet backed up, and so then everybody knew. Yeah. Yeah, that was Valemont in the mountains. It's funny because if you're driving through it, which we did whenever we would go back to BC to visit family, it doesn't look that small from the highway, because there's all sort of the businesses are right along the highway and the hotels and stuff, and they kind of have bigger facades and stuff, so they look bigger than they are. And then yeah, if you actually drive around the town, you realize it's teeny. Yeah. And I think it's gotten even a little bit smaller after the pandemic, because they used to have Best Western with a restaurant, and we went to stop there on our way when we were going to see my mother-in-law before she passed away. And yeah, the hotel and the restaurant was closed, and so we tried to go to the other restaurant in town, and they were closed for repairs. The only place we found that was open was Subway. That was it. Yeah, there was nothing else. Yeah, because there was a hotel along there. There were two hotels where we would stop and have lunch, and both of them had closed down since the pandemic, and I guess they never recovered. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm assuming that the bulk of their business came from people driving through, and then, yeah, during the pandemic, people were not traveling. So, yeah, they lost their business. Yeah, so I like Subway could make it, but that's because also they're a chain, right? So, yeah. It's a little less stressful, I guess. Yeah. You have more, I guess, resources to call back on. Okay, so not sure how wide of an area I'm going to work across for a bit, but just play it by ear. Oh my. Yeah, getting back into the routine. Yeah, fortunately my kids' high school, they follow the research saying that, you know, teenagers are not awake as early. They have a later sort of rhythm. So their classes don't start till 9, which is nice, but still means I gotta set the alarm for like 7:30 to make sure we actually get our behinds out of bed and get going. Yeah. So. And during the summer, yeah, I was sleeping until 9, so yeah. Takes some getting used to again. Yeah, naturally later. I said, yeah, but I said to my son, you're lucky because we went, the last couple years of high school, we actually were out of area because we went to a private school. And yeah, in between having to get up in time to make it to catch the bus and the long bus ride, which was like over 40 minutes to school, and the fact that they started at like 8, I think. Yeah, we had to get up mega early. Yeah, and then on the weekend, my dad sang in the 9 o'clock service at church. So we didn't get to sleep in Sunday either. The only day we got to sleep in was Saturday. So yeah, we were not thrilled. And I was annoyed because we live near the school. So on Saturdays, they would have soccer games, which is fine. But then adults would sit there honking their horns when their kids got a goal. And it was like, oh, like I said, cheer, yell, that's fine. But the honking really carries the sound, right? I was not happy. Like, I mean, I get it. It's not silent hours legally, but yeah, it was just like, look, scream and clap. Why do you have to honk your horns? It's really obnoxious, you know? Ugh. Okay. Yeah, these pinks are nice and pretty. Okay, I think I can get 2 more stitches out of that. So Oh yeah, like I said, this bigger blocks will go pretty quick because, yeah, just about ready to pass 100 stitches. Oh dear, my goodness. So yeah, I worked a bit on flowers at the bottom of this pass, I believe last time. So now we're at the top of it working on this flower. So yeah, like I said, I would like to hit the halfway mark this month, but we will see. 'Cause like I said, I did lose some time to my juicing and stuff, so. However, areas like this with these bigger blocks definitely helps. Yeah, obviously the higher confetti takes a lot longer to make progress. Oh, will we hit 200 today? We will see. Does not look quite right. I guess that's just the way it's lying. There we go. Oh, got a fuzzy. Oh, that's not right. Yeah. Okay, I'm afraid if I try to go back down with the point of my needle, instead of going back in the right spot, I'm going to end up making a little stitch there. I've done that before because I was too lazy to unthread and rethread, but then I ended up regretting it, so yeah. Unless you can be absolutely certain you can poke it right back where it came up. Yeah, better to unthread so you don't accidentally wrap it around the... Then you end up with a tiny little stitch that is basically impossible to undo. Guess how I know? Yeah. And I had to decide whether to leave it or to cut the thread and pull it out. And so yeah, in the end it ended up costing me a lot more time and effort than if I just unthreaded my needle to pull it back to the back of the piece. So yeah, I have to be careful because it's getting lighter as it gets closer to the center of this flower bud. When I end off threads, I'm drawing them away rather than pin stitching them because I don't want them to show through the lighter colors. That can happen. Oh yes, this is a short one. So just those 2 stitches. so I was happy I got my end tables with drawers, so I was able to sort out and put a bunch of craft stuff upstairs. So now all my floss is up here. I sort of had a box of the extra downstairs, so now I can have it all up here, so I don't have to go up and down the stairs every time I need a new skein of floss. So that's kind of nice. But they're all nicely tucked away. So my living room looks very neat and tidy, which is nice too. So bigger blocks, but the colors do kind of interlock with each other enough that I have to stop and switch. But I don't mind that because it does help me from getting too sore. Yeah. I have to be careful not to overdo it. Oops. So I have done that before where I've had huge blocks and I just stitched and stitched without breaks, and then yeah, my arms were burning later. So yeah, I say that's one thing I like with this method. I find because I have to stop and change colors periodically, it kind of helps me to take those little breaks. Feeling that would be too raggedy to properly thread. Yeah, so we'll see. I might end up working across sort of the whole width of this area for a while. Yeah, so we have this flower bud, and we have quite a lot of the big open flower before we start getting to the peahen's feathers and some of the peacock's feathers. Ooh, that is no good. Yeah, I love the colors on this piece. Nice and vibrant. Okay. Yeah, because of the way it's starting to go sideways, I'm probably going to be working more that way than strips up, which is what I originally thought, but yeah, my plans changed. Well, I do like big blocks in that you can really see the progress you're making quite quickly. That didn't look quite right. Okay, I should have actually parked that up top instead first. Yeah, I wasn't thinking ahead there. Oh, what happened? I think I missed one. Oh, yeah, I did. I missed the stitch that was right against this grid line. Let's fix that. That's better. Okay, so yeah, what I actually should have done, which is what I'll do now, is unpark this, do this one here, and then repark it back where I had it. I didn't think ahead enough. There we go. Yeah, that way I can do all of these without closing in anything. Although I don't worry as much as long as it's not closed in on all four sides, but when I can avoid it, I do. Now we'll do that one and tie this off. Okay, I can probably get another stitch out of this, but that'll be it. That's no good. Sometimes it can be a little trickier to get this to work. There we go. There we are. Be careful your needle doesn't come up to the top as you're trying to draw it across the back, or you'll end up with a thread tail across your work, which you don't want. Yeah, it's not that kind of embroidery. Okay, I'm going to unthread this because it's just too short and it won't stay threaded, I don't think. Goodness, the ends are being very pesky today. There we go. Just don't want to stay on the back where they belong. Little knot, darn it. I hate when that happens. It's on the front now. Okay, so I'm gonna do a tack stitch, a pin stitch over here. That way that forces the knot to stay on the back. It's tiny, but obviously I don't want it in the middle of a stitch, especially not on the top leg. So it's not enough that it's gonna make a lump, but enough that you don't want it showing. This is the short piece that is going to run out pretty soon. Goodness, I'm starting to think this piece is more trouble than it's worth. Goodness. Oh, it will not cooperate. Okay. I should have just tied it off. Oh my gosh. What a pain. All right, I'm going to tie it off now because I don't feel like wrestling with it anymore. Okay. So I'm going to stitch a bit here, but then I'm going to go back to the top. I'm just going to sort of work across this whole flower, I think, at once, this whole flower bud. eye on this needle. It's got when it has a lot of fuzzy stuck to it, that sometimes means the eye of the needle has gotten rough and will snag, but then it may be time to discard it. Oh yeah, I am past 200 stitches now. Kind of thought I might get to that point. All these big blocks. Okay, so I think I'm going to finish up this row here, and then I think that's where I'm going to take a break for today. It's got quite a good amount of progress done. Yeah, because started this here, so we filled in all that, so. Okay, yeah, quite happy with that. So thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you here next time. All right, thanks everyone.